your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson.
Control.
Everything you need to know about new and used cars.
Control.
Industry news will fix or repair your car on the air.
Control.
Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin.
Control.
Because you're on cruise control. Cruise control. Cruise control.
Hey, welcome everyone to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine, as it is each and every week, and we are, as we are, each and every week. I'm Les Jackson, and that guy there is Fred Staab, looking very eager and chipper and raring to go. Okay. I don't know why that made me laugh, but
it should have. I'm glad it did.
Yeah, well, you know, anyway, I didn't expect soupy sales here with it. But anyway, we have a bunch of automotive stuff to talk about, not not old comedians.
Yes.
And the first one is Honda, right?
Yeah. We're going to talk about the Honda Civic, revealed this week, including the 50-mile-per-gallon hybrid. Whoa, that's pretty good, huh?
That's pretty good. Also, they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I would call the Civic a mid-sized car now. Anyway, has Kia cracked the formula for an affordable EV with great range? Well, if any company can, it's Kia.
Yeah. We're going to talk a lot about the EV3, and as you know, Les, I say Hyundai and Kia have a real possibility of dominating the electric car market.
They sure do. They sure do.
And we're also going to talk tech. Ford has had a couple of stumbles when it comes to quality. Now they're employing AI that, well, is a way of fixing it all. We'll tell you how they're using AI to fix it up. Sounds interesting.
It does. And question, are younger buyers open to Chinese brand vehicles? Well, we know someone knows, and we'll talk about that.
Yep, we've got the results of a study on that, and then we'll have another at-the-wheel review of the Hyundai Kona. Great little crossover for you. This one's the regular gas-powered version, but they also have an electric version of this. But we're going to be taking a tool around in the electric version today, and it's got some pretty unique styling and good value. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control with Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We're also going to talk about that interesting Pontiac ad that happened this week, Les, where people were trying to say that Pontiac was coming back with a 637 horsepower V8. It was an ad in Car and Driver, so we'll kick that one around. What might have been happening there, but hey, that's a load of stuff. We're gonna have a whole lot more as well. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We'll be right back. A bit about that Pontiac ad too during the break. So Les, what do you think about that Pontiac ad in the Car and Driver magazine? Somebody took out a big ad. It's called "Make Some Noise." It's got the fire chicken on there that you would have seen on the hood of a Trans Am. And it says, Pontiac fans, it's been a weird 15 years since we left, hasn't it? Now we can't definitely say that Pontiac's absence influenced events we all have been through, but come on, caffeine comes out of Four Loko, and now it's lemonade. Everything on the road looks like an Aztec now. That's why America needs Pontiac back. Our first model will be a hybrid, which uses a battery and electric motor to start a 667 horsepower supercharged 372 cubic inch V8. And we're going to think you want one because you can't buy a new Dodge Challenger and leave the splitter guards on anymore. Of course, The splitter guards were those little yellow things that
Right.
were used for shipping and everyone. It says, at Pontiac, we're here to offer a future filled with V8s, great sounds, gold pinstripes, and window louvers. And it goes on. So,
It's very interesting.
of course, the internet was abuzz with this, but
Yep.
what do you think? I think it was a ploy to just get good content for people to post things on social media.
I think you're right. I think you just create a buzz. You count all the clicks,
And
and
you talk about it.
and it's also a way, if it really came from the factory, it's also a way to judge, well, how much demand would there be for something like that?
I call it a
maybe-
trial balloon in the Washington speak. Float a trial
and
balloon.
if you end up with 300,000 people saying, yeah, I want one, well, maybe you should.
Make
build
it a
something,
sub-brand.
but-
Make it a sub-brand, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be right back with more cruise control after this.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Going to jump right into it, Les. Kind of an important launch for Honda because they're bringing out their new Civic, including a 50 mile per gallon crossover. 50. I'm so used to crossovers. I just say crossovers. This is a sedan, a 50 mile per gallon hybrid.
Sedan. That's a thing with with 4 doors and
Yeah.
low to the ground. People sit in it, and
Well, here's a good thing. Civic Hybrid, unlike the Corolla, which is only available in a sedan, Civic Hybrid is available as a hatchback as well. Wouldn't that be a
Good
fun little vehicle to drive around in?
I think these small, compact cars, as they used to be called, they're not anymore. With a hatchback, it's just great. Talk about something that's just plain useful.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, it is this is the believe it or not, the most powerful non-Type R Civic ever, and that's the hybrid, with an anticipated combined 200 horsepower and an impressive 232 pound-feet of torque. It is the most powerful non-Type R Civic ever. 2-motor hybrid system, and it maximizes the efficiency of the vehicle. It can result in 50 miles to the gallon of range, of miles per gallon rating. That's pretty amazing, right?
That's what can you say bad about that? That's just spectacular, and all of that, and something that's fun to drive.
Yeah, exactly. The top model, the Sport Touring Hybrid, will feature Google built-in, which includes the apps Google Assistant, Google Maps, and more on Google Play. That's sort of the way I believe GM is going, maybe with their own branding. I'm not sure. This is the 11th generation of the Civic. And it, of course, has all the safety features in it as well. Honda has produced more than 11 million Civics in North America, and I'm sure they will add more to it. Hatchback's good-looking vehicle, I tell you.
I like that. I really like that shape. I like the color too that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And that's about the most versatile type of car you can get.
Well, what would you think of this over, let's say, a Prius? Because the miles per gallon are very close. And the styling is a little bit less aggressive, I would say. I think it would be a worthy alternative, don't you think?
I think so. I would tend to get a Honda over a Prius anyway. I just have never really particularly liked the looks of the Prius. I have great respect for the car itself, but I don't care for either the exterior or the interior of the Priuses.
Yeah. Yeah. So once again, what you have here, 50 miles per gallon. We think, I don't think this has been officially rated, or has it? Expected to receive EPA combined fuel economy rating. Combined fuel. So that means a combined rating of nearing 50 miles per gallon means that the highway is probably even higher, right? Because combined is always.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. And look at that. It's got knobs on the dashboard.
Knobs and.
Knobs. Can you believe knobs? No touchscreen. So I'm pretty excited about this. I look forward to driving it, and I think it's going to be a good hit for them. If people can break out of that mold of crossovering, if that's a word. But great commuter car, super commuter car, right?
Oh, and a great car to send your kid to college in.
Wow, that'd be nice to get a Civic hybrid as your first car. That's pretty nice.
And it's reasonably expensive. Or inexpensive.
Thank you. That was reasonably expensive.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Well,
that's right.
While we're on cars, because we've done that before on this. While we're on cars, inexpensive. But we're gonna ask this. We're gonna ask this question: has Kia cracked the code when it comes to inexpensive cars, EVs? And we think they may have with the EV3. We're going to bring that up. It sort of looks like a Soul when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. We're going to go electric. Well, at least we're going to try.
Personally, we're going to go.
No,
I don't know what that means.
But we're going. We're looking at the Kia EV3, which is we're looking at a photo of a. I think we can call this a production prototype.
We have some photos actually up on the Cruise Control Facebook page. Yep. It was actually revealed globally, Les, but there was some talk. Would it come to the U.S.? Of course, the answer is yes. It will come to the U.S. We didn't have to.
I think so. The U.S. is a big market, and you know, you've made the comment, and I'll hold you to it because I believe it's true, and that is that Kia and Hyundai are going to be the world producers of electric vehicles. They're going to take the market, just like Ford and Chevy did on regular cars for decades and decades.
Yeah. Yeah, because let's remember, most manufacturers are no longer full-line manufacturers. They don't play in sedans. They don't play in coupes. They just do trucks and crossovers, you know. But let's talk about this EV3. The pricing on this, people call this the mini EV9 because it has a lot of that styling. To me, it's like an EV9 and a Kia Soul had an illicit affair. And this is their baby. Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. I think it looks very fun. It looks very futuristic. It has, now we're just using the numbers, the European numbers and that, but it has a 300 at the top range model, 600 kilometers, which is roughly 370.
360.
360.
Yeah, 370. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, you can do real damage with that.
That's substantial. That's a trip.
With the correct charger, it can charge from 10 to 80% in 31 minutes. And they're hoping to have this, they believe, if everything, we don't have actual pricing on this yet, but they're hoping to have it around $35,000. They're looking at building it in the U.S., so you would get the full $7,500 rebate. If not, they'll probably offer a leasing deal where you can get that. I think it's very futuristic. I think it's cute. I like the wheels. There's going to be a GT line, which will be a little bit snazzier model. But I think it is the perfect way to get people into electric vehicles. And I think they'll sell a bunch of them. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think Kia is, it's the price, it's the style,
Yep.
it's the practicality of, okay, look, we can give you this. It's not going to give you range anxiety. It'll hold a lot of things, a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a box. Efficient.
It's going to have our typical ridiculous warranties.
Right.
That we've never had a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
And, that kind of is a decision maker, I think, for a lot of reluctant buyers.
It's going to have a 25-liter frunk and a 460-liter rear load capacity. It will offer the largest luggage space in its class. It has a 30-inch widescreen display. It even has a little fold-out table. Okay, well, that's interesting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Most of the material is made from recycled, on the inside, recycled polyethylene terephthalate, or PET, which uses recycled plastics in numerous areas, including seats, headliners, door armrests, garnish floor mats, and luggage board. So that's kind of cool. It has a couple of different ranges. The standard model is offered with a 58.3 kilowatt-hour battery, and the EV3 long range, which is the one that would have that 360, 370 potential range, has an 81.4 kilowatt-hour battery. Acceleration 0 to 100 kilometers in 7.5 seconds, and its maximum speed is 170 kilometers. As I say, there was some talk, will this come to the U.S.? I don't know. It's like, of course it will, and it was finally announced that it will.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. And it will also feature vehicle-to-load charging, so you can use it to power devices such as laptops, small fridges, coffee machines, and hair dryers.
Well, now wait a minute. What good is the hair dryer going to do for me?
Well, that they didn't talk about, but I think it's a pretty good deal. I'm kind of frankly excited about it.
So.
I'm looking forward to checking out. And while we're on it, we should tell you about a pretty cool leasing deal that they have on their EV9. Now, if you look at this is their full-size EV9, and you can see where the EV3 came from, the styling of the EV9. Kia is offering a lease deal on the EV9 for $399 a month, with $3,949 due at signing. The EV9 has a 304-mile range with a 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery, a much bigger vehicle than this is a large SUV. So remember, you can get that $7,500 tax break because it is leased. This one is not built in the U.S., but this is built in South Korea. But really, once again, showing that Kia is on top of it and is out there with products, and they are, really, really working to sell them. So this is basically the electric Telluride, I would say. Wouldn't you say?
I would say that's true. It's also, it works out, by the way, when you put down the $4,000 up front at signing, typical lease. It works out at $564 a month. But I mean, that's pretty much what everybody's paying for anything these days.
If not more, But
Yeah.
yeah, so good news over at Kia, and I'm just excited about the EV3, but because that's something more in the size that I would need
Yeah.
personally. Uh, but funky, cool. They'll do a great job on the
Yep.
interior. So
Efficient size.
yeah. So yeah, drop us a note. What do you think of the EV3? And would an inexpensive electric vehicle that gets theoretically almost 400 miles of range and can be recharged quickly, would that be something that would get you to get into an electric car? I just like the styling because I think they just go all in and do something different, and it's got to be different. Let's face it, you gotta
That's
stand
right.
out. Yeah. So
The one thing I will disagree with you is the wheels. I know you like them.
yeah, I think they're different.
It's just a little too different for me, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's and they're probably got something to do with the aerodynamics of the vehicle too.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk tech, how Ford is using AI technology to better the quality. And then you and I talked a lot about this, the BYD vehicles, some of the inexpensive Chinese vehicles coming to they're putting a ban on them coming to the U.S. or a high tariff over 100%. And people are worried about them dominating the market, but there's an interesting study that said younger buyers might be open to these Chinese brands. And then I'm going to have an at-the-wheel review of the Hyundai Kona Limited when we come back. So a whole lot of information coming your way, especially if you're buying a new vehicle or just trying to figure it all out. We're going to figure it out for you here on Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Fred and I are going to talk about AI technology because, as you know, we're great experts in it.
What?
Which is to say, no, we're not. But we're obviously well aware of it, as so is Ford, because this is our talking tech. Ford is going to be using AI technology to basically cut down on quality control issues, which is that seems like a good way to use AI to me.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great example of it. And Jim Farley's a big fan of this. So before Ford started using this AI technology at the Van Dyke facility, they were installing an average of 40 electric oil pumps with faulty rubber seals per month in 2023. Wow. That's terrible, isn't it? In April 2024, not a single zero. I love this. Not a single zero squish tube defect was reported. Squish tube.
Yep.
What is
whatever
a squish
that
tube?
Is. Yeah.
So highlighting that's the usefulness of this AI system. And all blue oval plants are determined to eliminate defects. Every plant is focused on improving quality. GM and the plant manager said CEO Jim Farley wants us to improve quality, but admitted it will take several years to eliminate defects. Well, think of the money you can save because if an electric oil pump goes bad,
Oh yeah.
You might be dropping a new mill into that vehicle, right?
Yeah, you could be suddenly confronted with absolute silence from the engine compartment.
After a loud sound.
Oh, after an extremely loud sound. And the cool thing is that it used to be for many years that American manufacturers, cars, whatever, used to accept a 3% failure rate on parts. And the problem with that is if you accept a 3% failure rate, you're going to get a 3% failure rate.
Right.
Whereas the AI is accepting 0
Right.
failures, and it because it's looking at everything like no human can do, really, all the time. And it rejects anything before it ever gets to assembly that it sees is likely to fail. So
Yeah.
I like this. I like 0% acceptable failure on critical parts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And once again, at the volumes they're doing, this can be a major problem, and really cut into the profits. And it's interesting. This was noted in an article, I believe this was an Auto Blog. Ford assembled more vehicles in the U.S. last year than anyone else.
Wow.
Ford is number 1 in vehicle production, U.S. exports, and hourly workers employed. And it is excelling with top-selling models like the F-150 and Maverick 150 built in the U.S., Maverick built in Mexico, right? But Ford faces issues with recalls, EV accidents, and quality. And, of course, that goes into what we just talked about, how they're trying to fix quality. So just to look at some of their numbers, by the way, they've had the best hybrid sales month of all time, which is big news for them. And 80%, nearly 80% of all models the brand sells in the U.S. are made here. That is big news.
Boy.
So 260,000 American-assembled vehicles found their way to other countries last year, and 57,000 plus hourly manufacturing employees helped make it happen. Imagine that, 57,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, just that's like a big football stadium.
Yeah, it's like a whole football stadium full of people assembling stuff.
Ford people, and that's a 250,000 vehicles that's sent overseas, not that anyone bought here.
Right.
So that's a heck of a lot of. I mean, it's just staggering to know that you can build that many in that amount of time. It's if you ever get a chance to go to a factory, do it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It really is how they just pop out there. Also, an interesting thing, we like to always bring these up, Ford is discounting unsold F-150 Lightning pickups. So offers up to a $15,250 in lease discounts. The discounts vary models on model, but pricey Platinum gets the biggest incentive. So something to look into if you're thinking about a Ford Lightning, right? I mean, it's always a good time to get one of those and walk in.
There is. I finally saw one last week on the road.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, though, it's still not – the entry-level XLT, by the way, will set you back $789 a month over 48 months with a mileage cap of $10,500 and $7,298 due at signing. Boy.
Well, yeah, so basically you're paying a pretty standard monthly rent of an apartment.
Well, not in New York.
Well, not here either. But
yeah. Well, also,
the country.
You do get the $750 tax credit incentive, so that will help you cover the $7,298 that you put down
That's
at the
true.
beginning. But still, that's a lot of money. But if you're thinking about getting an F-150 Lightning, I believe this is on the 2023s. Yes, 2023s. I don't think they have anything on the 2024 Lightning yet. They might. They've decreased the prices on some of them, but big chips. Hey, let's look at this. You and I talked about this about new brands, Chinese brands coming into the U.S. market, like BYD and all that. They've said they don't want to come into the U.S. market, but let's face it, they do. They're just not saying it. So this was an interesting study that was recently released by Auto Pacific, and it indicates that 76% of the buyers under 40 would consider buying one of these new Chinese-built vehicles from BYD or something like that, despite privacy concerns about connected vehicles. They surveyed 800 people aged 18 to 80 and asked them specifically how they felt about Chinese EVs. And as one would imagine, the respondents' age, as it moved up, the likelihood of considering such a vehicle went down. So under 40, 73% said they would consider it. 40 to 49, 72% were concerned about privacy. And by the time you get up to 60 plus, 81% were concerned about privacy.
Yeah.
There's always been said, and that's painting with a wide brush, that younger people don't care about a loss of privacy, but I'm actually more concerned about what's in the vehicle and will it make me sick and will it fall apart?
Actually, I am too. Yeah, I gave up privacy a long time ago because I just realized that no one can expect privacy in today's world.
Right.
If you're on the internet, you have no privacy. You think you do, you don't.
Right.
And so I'm concerned, yes, the material, and by the way, I happened to read an article this week that a number of Tesla owners, and I'm not singling Tesla out because I think this is true in many, many vehicles, that are beginning to report that they've got terrible breathing and allergy problems driving the cars. But when they get out of the cars, the problems go away.
Oh boy!
And they're finding they're actually some of the HVAC output from the Teslas has been measured in graduated devices and put on gas chromatograph mass spectrometers, and they're finding toxic substances that are outgassing. A lot of these materials are coming from China.
Yeah.
So
that's more of a concern. Good. Yeah. Because I think privacy, as I said earlier, that the data information is going to be used by everyone. It will be part of business. So, hey, what do you think? Leave us a note in the comments on any of our social media platforms. When we come back, though, we've got another At the Wheel review of the Kona from Hyundai. Stay tuned.
Cruise control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Time, Les, for another At the Wheel review. This time it is the Kona Limited 2024 model, redesigned a bit on the outside and on the inside. Great little crossover from the folks over at Hyundai. And it is available in the electric, the limited, and the Kona N. The electric, of course, has a 260-mile range. This one, though, was the engine-powered version, the gas-powered version, 190 horsepower, 1.6-liter turbocharged GDI 4-cylinder engine. Nice little crossover. Hyundai does a lot with the styling. They've got that cool crease that goes down the side. It's got to have the cladding. You got to have a little bit of cladding to say you're a crossover. Yep. You got to have that and the tinted rear windows. I like how the chrome strip kind of intersects the back of the vehicle. This one did not have that high a belt line, although that is pretty common for these vehicles. But Yeah, kind of interesting. The tail lights are mounted down low, and then there's a strip across, an LED strip across the back. The low-mounted tail lights, almost a little bit PT Cruiser-like. On the inside, Hyundai kind of has understated interiors, and this one was no different. It's all black. It is, perforated leather with some design in there. Pretty good bolstering for a vehicle like this. On the inside, the gauges are all electronic. There's this panel to the left that sort of seems like a speaker, but it's really just a panel. Some nice soft feel bits on the door cards and switch gears, kind of subdued black. Kind of the way it looks across the whole Hyundai lineup. We got this kind of brushed silver look to it. It has the new style steering wheel with the LEDs in the center to indicate the drive mode you're in. Fully electronic gauges, but nice presentation. They're electronic gauges, but they look like they are analog gauges, which I kind of like. It has the shifter that is the short stalk, and with park button on the end, you rotate that shifter. Lots of buttons here. We like it. You can control the functions for the screen either by buttons. There's a volume knob. There's a tuning knob. Go figure. That is nice. And a great touchscreen, very responsive, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can even look at the weather on the screen, which is always handy. The nice handy thing from the folks over at Hyundai. Interesting, you've got a couple of different ports, so you can charge on one or connect on one USB-C port, and can also control your heated steering wheel, your heated seats, your cooled seats, your drive mode with a knob, and even do a all-wheel drive lock with that knob, which is really great. And once again, on the new steering wheel, you'll see the LEDs change color. I like this, the cup holders that disappear. You push them back, and there's a little kind of step there. I don't know what you would put there, maybe a phone, who knows, on the passenger side. But great gauges on this. They light up different colors when you go into different drive modes. All-wheel drive. Out back, the entrance to the rear seat was a little tight. Not bad, but once you're in there, there's pretty good room, pretty good leg room. You get a couple of more USB-C charging ports and some air conditioning vents out back. Rear seat folds relatively flat. It's not one of the flatter ones, but it's not one of the more inclined ones either. But good storage, of course, in the hatchback vehicle. Overall, the look of the interior is kind of a little austere, but very functional. A lot of buttons. A lot of controls. Out back, good storage in this hatchback. It finished off in a mix of carpet and plastic, and just, functional hatchback interior. Nothing all that special. Underneath, good news, there is a spare tire, which is becoming a little bit rare, and you do get a power tailgate. Now, under the hood, as I said, it's a 190 horsepower, 1.6-liter turbocharged engine, which did a great job for this vehicle. It was completely adequate for getting us around town, and we liked it a lot. Just nothing bad to say about it. It's a good system from Hyundai, and they've done a great job. Our exterior was cyber gray metallic. Interior was black. And they keep their pricing pretty straight up. There's not a lot of options other than things like mud guards and floor mats. But freight was $1,375. Total MSRP, $34,675, about $4,000 less than the similarly sized CX-30 from Mazda. This one's a little bit less luxurious. And the styling, the headlights are down low on the fenders as well as the taillights, and then you've got the bar across the front. That may or may not appeal to some people. I remember when this vehicle came out and we looked at some pictures and I thought, I'm not quite sure about this, but it actually doesn't look that bad when you're up here in real life. And the Kona's always been kind of a cheerful car to drive and not really just really has everything you want in a small vehicle. I've never driven the N line, which I wonder what that's like, the performance version of this, but overall, a pretty good deal for a small crossover from the folks over at Hyundai. And I like that there's a lot of buttons in there and a lot of controlled surfaces, easy to use. I think it's the styling, the headlights and taillights down low on the side that, I don't know. Does that appeal to you? Does that bother you less, or is it not a thing?
No, it doesn't bother me, actually.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I'm always a fan, too, when in an all-wheel drive vehicle they have a locking locking button, so you can lock that in if you start slipping. Neat, though, that it is available in an electric version, a performance version, and then this version here, the gas-powered version. I would imagine there's not a hybrid version because it doesn't really need that. The fuel economy, do I have fuel economy here? I don't think I do, but I'm sure the fuel economy is pretty good, at least in the 30s, I would imagine. So there you have it, the Kona from the folks over at Hyundai, popular model for them. I do like the brushed aluminum trim piece that kind of separates and breaks up the, I guess it would be the D pillar. And the interior's good. A lot of people comment on that little stalk shifter that they either love it or they hate it. I'm starting to like it. At first I thought it was kind of weird, but I'm starting to like it, and we'll see. And I for sure thought that panel over there on the left-hand side was a speaker, because it sure looks like a speaker. But it's just a way, which is common these days, to get a little softness into the dashboard. But good job from Hyundai, and just another affordable vehicle that something to look at if you're looking for an all-wheel drive crossover from the folks at Kia, Hyundai and Kia. Total MSRP $34,675. So there you go, at the wheel review. We love to review vehicles, and hey, give us your thoughts, and hopefully it's something. Give you our thoughts, and hopefully it's something that helps you when you're going out to purchase a new vehicle. At least you can say, hey, I heard this had some nice features in the interior, or the styling. That was the biggest takeaway. The styling looks a lot better than I thought it would when we first saw the original pictures. So another good thing. Always look at a car in person.
Always.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.